Yeah, just welcome back then to the final session in the URC pre-season test for the 2019 season. We've seen two cracking sessions so far, with some really competitive times being put out, a lot of competition for those tier 1 spots, and all the teams doing a solid job. And now we're here for the final session. This is the big one. Full 20 drivers. We had a problem with one of the PFL guys, unfortunately. Hopefully they can sort it out in the 28 minutes. Yeah, we've got 19 drivers at the moment. This is the big one, the final session, and I'm happy to say that we've got James back after a few problems in the last one.
Yeah.
Although hopefully you can get into the lobby.
Yeah, I'm in the lobby now. Everyone
Yep.
steaming out of pit lane early doors. That gives us a perfect opportunity to talk about the guys who are in the session today. So let's have a look then. Team PFL with PFL Bartek Frast. They are in the what car? I've completely gone off track here. They are in. My apologies. They're in the Mercedes, as you'd expect. ERL Esports Gold with Snazzy Evening. They are in the Ferrari with ERL Miro, and they are the Ferrari team of ERL. Then TSRL Blue have KJ Gamer and Ollie Smithson in the Red Bull. VSR Red, after their very impressive VSR Verstappen earlier on. VSR Infamous is here, dare I say, he is here in the Renault with VSR Sierra, the Brazilian. Very good. BPRL Black. You'll see all the BPRL boys here as well. So Fry Boogie and Metroid. There for BPRL. The TSR boys with TSR Baztec and TSR EC. Then the RLR Black team with TRL Limitless and OMG's Joe repping the Force India. We then have Shazoo with Chris Macker and they're reserved. Shazoo White then with Clone Troop, and Ian Boy and BPRL Guard with Goblin. And that is all she wrote for this session. Let's see then with 26 and however many minutes to go how these drivers get on. Will they better the times of the sessions before them? We've seen some pretty cracking laps, so it'd be something to achieve if they could do so. And there is the first time on board from VSR Sierra. He goes into P1, the Brazilian, with a 118.1 on the soft compound tyre.
Got a post here in the chat, which is from ERL Esports, one of the teams that are probably aiming to get both of their teams into Tier 1. They did a solid job in the first session. And because we've got 16 teams, and they're all guaranteed one spot, as long as they win 103% of the 11th fastest time. A bit confusing, but so far they've all done that. So 16 teams will at least get one in at the moment. And then the 4B teams then are basically competing for the remaining spots. VSR are one of them. We know that they'll be in. War from the first session, they'll be there. And then it's quite close, like between the third and fourth spots, between that ERL team from earlier, and their second teams in this session, and ILR's second team are in this session as well, and a few more to watch out for. So really interesting in that B team battle. That's the tough bit, getting your B team in. And at the moment we've seen some really good performances from some of the B teams, and doing all they can to qualify.
So we have indeed. Interesting to see how TSR get on as well. They had a pretty solid first session. They were all the way back in the first session. They had a solid outing there. Let's see what AC and Baztec can do in session 3, the session we are currently in. Now, the evening is second at the moment for ERL, and as you'd expect, doing a fine effort is the Finn. Very good on the old one lap pace, as we know from ILR. So, interesting to see how he gets on in this session with his teammate ERL Miro. Two Ferraris there. Joe's currently fourth at the moment on medium tyres with an 18.0. That's a very respectable effort, to be fair, from the ILR driver, the ILR rep as well for this one. It's interesting to see how the likes of Tiro Limitless will get on as well, the biggest name in this field, you would have said. An absolute, he's the elder statesman really in this tier, so interesting to see how he gets on.
Quick word about BPRL, because they're Got 2 teams in this session. 4th season in the league. So it'd be nice to see them doing a good job. At the moment they're 10th and 12th. Yeah, they're in the Williams with one of their teams. And then their second team is in the Haas. Oh, Imp's just run off as I said that. Oops.
Bit of a commentary curse. We can gloss over it with some nice white paint and that will be all over that. But anyway, let's see how the others as well. Tia Sorrell, they had a strong second session from what I understand. Not a bad down offer to them so far. They're not in this session, dare I say. They are indeed, sorry, with their coach Cameron Smith. It's so difficult to get onto a grips with the different cars and different teams, but they're not all classified to one team or one specific car, because they're all different teams, just all scattered around, but they've all got similar league names. Of course, with Tia Sorrell, solid performance in the second session, so let's see how they go on in this one. Smithson is currently on top with a 17.3, although he has done it on the super soft tyre, so you'd expect to see an improvement. That was really almost the cut-off. If your teammate's done well, a 17.3 isn't a bad effort. It wouldn't have been a bad effort in session 2. Certainly may not have sent you through to Tier 1 though, with that sort of lap. They will need maybe to improve on that, Will Smithson, as the session progresses, but we still have well over 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, and we saw in the last session Verstappen put in that kind of time on the soft tyres at this point in the session rather than the super soft tyres. That was a fantastic effort, wasn't it, from him in the last session. Did a great job. Yeah, as we said, 17.0, 17.1, around about there is your kind of average time, is what you need. It's going to be interesting. 10 minutes in, drivers just getting a feeling for it at the moment, and then with about 10 minutes to go we really see the big times coming in then.
Yeah, the big times will begin to fly in, and we will be watching as well the keen eyes Tiro Limitless. He is beginning a lap for Force India for the RLR team, running through turn 3 now, trying to take as much entry go as he possibly dares. You want to touch the curve on the inside there, but you want to just hug it like it's your favourite brownie, as Brundle once said. Into turn 4 we go then, and just keeping the car out wide. You've got to flick it back over to the right hand side for turn 5 again. You want to be hugging that inside curve, not really touching it. Exit, you can take a bit of exit road there. Turn 6, this is where Limitless had his crash in ILR with EVR Reynolds, and there was an interesting crash to say these through turn 9. How flat does he dare take it? Takes a lot of exit curve, this Tiro Limitless, but he keeps on the power as we head down towards turn 10. Slightly downhill as you approach turn 10, and you have to go back up, if you will, through turn 11, the slight kink, the very horrible traction zone for those on the pad. For those on the wheel as well with no traction would be a bit of a mess. In towards the end of the lap we go then with Tiro Limitless, throwing the car around, just throwing over the sausage curb there. Towards the end of the lap then comes Tiro Limitless through turn 16, the final corner, and where will this put the Force India? Will he go fast? No fastest just yet, but it's a decent effort from Tiro Limitless. Moves himself into P2 with a 17.6 on the soft tyres. He's only around 2.5 tenths slower, maybe 3 tenths off of Ollie Smithson at the moment on those super soft tyres. A decent lap from Tiro Limitless.
Yeah, that was a solid way to get yourself in it. Alton's just been beaten to second place by his teammate, MGX Joe, almost going to the top there, despite being on the soft tyres. I would be very surprised if ILR didn't get both their teams into Tier 1. We know that the team from Session 2 will be in, that's the gold team, and almost certain, I reckon, that this black team will join them. But still got to find a little bit of time from there, but that shows the kind of pace that they've got there by those times on the soft tyres.
It is impressive indeed. Shazoo have got both of their teams repping in here, the blue and white Shazoo team. Obviously, logo colours are blue and white, which only makes some sense, doesn't it? And interested to see how Clone Troop and Anybody gets on. I understand Clone Troop was in Tier 1 of AOR, so he has got the pace to really match it with the top guys. But he has recently, I believe, moved over to the wheel, and he is just finding it a bit difficult, but he's getting to grips with it, and it'll be interesting to see how he fares in this tier, whether he can try and get one of the Shizou teams into Tier 1. Boy's not a bad racer at all either, some very good pace Ian Boy has at times from leagues I've seen, such as RFL and TSRL, well, I believe not TSRL, but I know in WOI has some potential, some good speed. Does do a lot more league racing than most, as we said, Ian Boy, from what I understand. But yeah, solid team there down at Shazoo. Snazzy Evening is, I think, just about to begin a lap as well, or he's just finishing one. Does look like he's on it in the Ferrari, so that's interesting. No, he is backing off. He will go for another run, one would assume. Good effort at the moment from ERL. 5th and 7th. Snazzy Evening in 5th. Miro in 7th. Anything else?
And that's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd say the ERL guys, because they're going to be a good pace, I reckon, those Ferrari drivers in the ERL team. But it's going to be tough because we've seen a lot of strong B teams so far. So it's going to be tough for them to even qualify at all. As we said, 4 spots for the B teams. I mean, it could be the difference between qualifying for Tier 1 and not qualifying at all. Could be this Tier 2, because we have seen a good number of strong Tier 2 teams, which is good, because obviously they will still be able to compete, the drivers in the B team. If they don't qualify, they'll then become reserves, basically, for the A team in their assault, so a little bit of consolation there, but that would be disappointing.
Sarah's coming around the final corner for VSR in the Renault, and I think he's about to begin the lap. The only Brazilian, the only driver from the Americas in this entire league, which is quite extraordinary. And let's see how we get on. Very much a prominent force on that side of the pond. And let's see how he gets on. I understand he does do a few Brazilian run Formula 1 leagues. This is maybe one of the very first time he's actually raced against some European opposition. And that would be interesting for him to see. We've seen Brazilians turning up in Formula 1 and in Europe down the years, and it'll be great to see what he can do for VSR. Sarah then coming around now to the top of the hill, turn 9, probably the highest point of the circuit. Absolutely flat out through there, really did hold the grip where he needed to. Into turn 10, it's a really easy corner to lock your left front wheel. Does well not to really. It's a corner of just undulation, trying to drag that car around. His TSR gone fast as well with 17.1. We'll expect that time to drop off the top as we see a few more drivers starting to bolt on the super soft tyres with just over 16 minutes to go in this session. Sarah in the Renault for VSR. Where did he go? He does go fast at all. 16.8. A very decent effort.
Yeah, that would be enough. If Infamous can match that kind of time, you'd expect that to be enough for those guys to qualify. It's going to be tight with their B team that ran in the last session, with Verstappen topping that session. But this team should be alright if Infamous can match that kind of time. He's coming through the last chicane now. Let's see what he can do on the super soft tyres. First run. Yeah, good time. 16.9. Those guys are going to be through. Those kind of times are going to be enough. And they've still got 15 minutes to improve. Limitless goes into second place with a 16.9. That's a solid time.
Yeah.
M&G, it's Joe. Are we waiting for him now?
He's back out.
Yeah, he's going into the pits. Those are some good times at this point in the session. Very impressive.
It is impressive. It's very impressive at this stage of proceedings. Interesting to see how others get on with relation to those sorts of times. The two guys for TSRL just using each other as a bit of a buffer, a bit of a marker. Maybe getting in each other's way there, but bother them. Takes back out of the lap. Miro is coming around the final couple of corners for ERL. We know how important this is for ERL. They really do need a good lap on the board here, really to get themselves into Tier 1. So can Miro do anything for Ferrari and for ERL? He can indeed. A 17.1. It's not a bad effort, but it may be on the fringes of that Tier 1 placement. They'll find out later on.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to tell you directly after this session ends who's going to be in Tier 1 and who's going to be in Tier 2, because we've kind of got to make sure, we've got to add it up, double check it, triple check it to make sure that these times are all exactly right and that there's been no kind of illegitimate times like we saw in the first session. So we will be having to check it, but we will be able to let you know tomorrow, bit of a plug here, for the URC podcast that me and James are going to be on. So that's a good reason to check that out, and hopefully we'll have that out tomorrow night with all of the news on exactly who's going to be where. But we can give you a rough idea from what we've seen so far of who's going to be going through. But it's certainly going to be tight, isn't it? We've seen a lot of leagues with kind of similar times, and every session has been just dipping into the 16s, isn't it? And then kind of a little bit further from there.
Sometimes in UFC back in the day, it used to be quite a big fight in the midfield. It always used to have that big scrum in midfield. I feel this is going to be very much similar to that, in the sense that I feel like the midfield is going to be so tightly packed in URC this season. Some of the times sort of very close. A brilliant lap for KJ Gamer, moves himself into second place with 16.9. That could well put real hope into TSRL's chances of qualifying for Tier 1. That is a brilliant effort from the Red Bull. He goes into P2. He'll need a good lap then, Will Smith, to ever keep them with a chance of that Tier 1 spot. Good stuff from TSRL and from KJ Gamer there.
Yeah, Smithson went on the super softs early, very early indeed, and now he's on the soft tyres. I think that he's maybe going to go out with. So, doing a little bit of an alternate kind of strategy to what we've seen before, where they've kind of put the softer tyres on as the session went on, as we kind of expected. That's what most drivers have done. But yeah, I think that's going to be that's going to put them right there. That time from KJ Gamer. It's just down to the second driver now. And it is good to see that we've got a lot of drivers evenly matched with their teammates. We haven't had one driver who's been carrying a team yet, really, which is good to see. So it looks like we'll have competitive competition. We'll have competitive competition across the two tiers for both the drivers and the constructors, I think. So that is good to see. I'm really looking forward to this season now. This has been a good test so far. As you say, I think the difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2 isn't going to be too much. And that's good, because this promotion relegation battle that we're going to have going on is going to be really interesting, because we're going to have the three teams at the bottom of Tier 1 are not going to be weak teams. They're going to be right up there. So that kind of competition for promotion and relegation is going to be really competitive. OMG Joe has now gone to the top. That's a good ILR spot. Yeah,
I think that's the fastest really of the day so far from OMGS Joe in the Force India. I think that just pips VSR Verstappen from last session. Yeah,
we saw. Well, no, I don't think it does actually. I think we had two drivers in 16.6.
Was it 6?
He's in the same 10th as the two from last session, Verstappen and Surprise. Both were 16.6s in the last session. He's joined them on that, so I'm not sure whether it's quick or not.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they've done enough now, haven't they? That's ILR done. They've done their job. Both of their teams will be in Tier 1, so they can breathe a sigh of relief. They've got 10 minutes to enjoy it and improve their time.
Will be interesting then to see how others react to that, because we know, of course, not everyone is safe for Tier 1 just yet. We know ILR have got a good chance here. VSR also look very much in good abundance at war as well with LCR. They look in good stead. TRL Limitless is throwing that Force India around as he heads up towards turn 9. He's got a good chance here. We know ILR are through, but it's just going to be interesting to see just how quick he is compared to his teammate OMGS Joe. He's seen plenty of the rear wing of OMGS Joe this season in ILR. He'll, well, thank me for that later on, but through turn 12 we go. Then very, very long corner, and through 13 as well. It's just a very short corner, not just a rear corner, but much harder than it looks. Throwing the car over the apexes of 14 and 15 through the long right-hander in the final corner of turn 16. Where will Terrell Limitless put this Force India? He stayed fourth, or is he about to go on to a lap? I could have just bottled that completely, but he could just be going on to a lap now. Who knows? We'll come back to him.
KJ Gamer is out on the soft tyres for some reason, having set that really strong 16.9. With 9 minutes left, he's now on the soft tyres.
He's giving a toe to Smith.
He's giving slipstream.
Yeah.
That's the teamwork I was kind of expecting. I think we did see a little bit of slipstreaming earlier between the War and LCR guys in the first session, Toro Rosso's, and we've seen a bit more of it there. That could be just the minute detail that makes the difference. We'll carry on with Smithson now. KJ Gamer's got a good time in. He might not be able to improve that time, because that is a good time. Anything in the 16s is a really solid effort. So now it's all maybe just about helping Smithson improve his time. A little bit more to be gained there with the 17.3. Looks like a pretty clean lap so far. As he goes into the DRS zone now. Snazzy Evening's gone to the top. Wow, first guy in the 16.5s all day.
And the
Fantastic effort from him.
The one lap maestro, the one lap meister. Whatever you want to call him, Snazzy Evening has got pace over one lap, and he's proved it there with a 16.5. That's a tremendous effort for ARL, and that could well save their bacon. But let's see then what TSRL can do. Smithson is around the final corner for TSRL. He needs a good lap here for them. Where would he go then across the line? Does improve, but not enough. 17.2. It's a good lap as well, to be fair, but not enough for Smithson at the moment.
Yeah, it's nothing shabby. If you're not getting into Tier 1, if you're just missing out on Tier 1, you are still a top driver. So yeah, there's no shame in it, but obviously they're going to be aiming for that. And you would imagine now that ERL have got their team into Tier 1, this team. I think that their team from earlier might get into Tier 1 as well. They're right on the edge, I'd say, the Force Indias from the first session.
Yeah.
The second DRL esports team. They're going to be right on that kind of edge, as was put in chat earlier on. But this team should be safe now. That fantastic lap by Snazzy Evening. And he showed that he's a contender.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's a crucial lap though for Miro, though, because he could solidify it, really, and that would really maybe put insult into wounds of other teams. Miro coming round and using that rear end effectively, trying to throw the car in and hope that the rear end doesn't stick, just a bit of a loose rear end where the car may understeer. As he throws the car, really is throwing that car about into the end of the final sector we go then, and for the final corner, where will this put ERL Miro? He does improve in the 17.0. That could well be enough, I think, for ERL.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, they'll be safe with that. That time by Snazzy Evening, 16.5, just meant that Miro just had to put in a solid effort, and that time is good. So they'll be fine. They'll be definitely in Tier 1 with that. And the chat exploded. There's a big explosion there when Snazzy Evening set that 16.5. So obviously a lot of support for him in the chat. And what a great effort for him. And it's really nice to see viewing kind of continuing to go up. We've got 71 viewers now. We thank you very, very much for watching this stream today. And obviously the season, just to talk about it quickly, we'll be getting underway in a couple of weeks' time in Australia. 2 days after the actual Formula 1 season starts. And hopefully you'll be joining us again for that. I think today has shown that we're going to have a really, really interesting season. I can't wait for it now. And yeah, hopefully you'll join us again for that. But thank you very much for watching today. We've got 5 minutes left, and the final few spots are now going to be fought for. And I think we could see some really good laps being put in here. Top 6 under the 17s is really good.
Could be a tense finale. Definitely, there's a few teams who are right on that cusp. I think really are just playing with fire. One of those is TSRL. I think they're one that are just missing out at the moment. Kojo Gamer and Smithson, they could find themselves with a chance. It's going to have to be a late blow then for Smithson and for KJ Gamer. If KJ Gamer can put in a good lap, it just eases the pressure on Smithson. We've seen the 17.0 may be enough. It's going to be close with a few moments to go. VSR looks very much set in stone with the infamous Sincera, the Brazilian doing wonders for them. Interesting then, with just under 5 minutes to go, who will progress to Tier 1? Series to shares, you can obviously find all of this information out in the podcast that we will be releasing tomorrow evening, but I'm very much looking forward to commentating on this season ahead. This is going to be something quite epic, I think. It really could be.
Going to give a quick BPRL update. We know that they've got two lots of teams in this one, and they're quite evenly matched. They've got their B team are in 11th and 18th. Oh, hang on, have I got this the right way out? Yeah, the B team are 11th and 18th, and the A team are 13th and 15th. So, some pretty good times. They've definitely done enough to get one of their teams into Tier 2, which we haven't seen any leagues off the pace outside of that 103%. They'll all be fine in terms of that. I think you need to be within about 3 seconds to do that, or about 2.5, and everyone's been that, especially compared to compared to the 11th fastest time. Everyone will be really comfortable in that, so that's good to see. No one is going to be missing out at all.
It is interesting that you pointed out earlier just how close all the teammates are. Like, there's nobody really pulling anyone. That's quite crazy in many ways, but that's what we're seeing here. It's very, very close. To be fair, pole position, the fastest time of Snaz Evening at the moment, 16.5. That is 1.3 seconds faster. Well, there's a 1.3 second gap, I should say, between Snaz Evening in first and Goblin down there in 16th place, which is seriously close. Like, that is ridiculously close between all those guys. That almost has reminiscence of 2012 in the real life Formula 1 season, just how close all the guys are. Sierra is on a lap for the VSR boys, just to solidify it. They very much got a chance here, and I feel like they're definitely through, but he just wants to consolidate what is probably already theirs. The Brazilian flying through turn 9, flat out in 6th gear, and you'll love to see it. The car racing onto the limits of grip in towards turn 10, locking that left front wheel ever so slightly. Gets it round nicely though through turn 11, the King, and a long right-hander of 12. Just eking out the throttle, trying to keep your foot down, trying to keep it planted, just easing your right foot onto that accelerator as we head then towards the end of the lap. Sierra could well find himself with a slight improvement here for VSR as he comes across the line. Where will he go? He does improve by about a tenth of a second, and that I would assume, and if it hadn't already, they should be looking at Tier 1.
Yep, they'll have that. So that is... I'm just trying to work out in my head who exactly is going to be through. It's going to be... I think we can say with some certainty, both ILR teams are in. The War LCR A team are definitely in. ERL A team, they're going to be in. VSR A team are going to be in. And then it's going to be close between the VSR B team, the ERL B team, the War LCR B team. I think I'm probably missing a few as well. So yeah, there's plenty of leagues that are going to be very close for those final few spots. I'm seeing a few people now just retiring. 1 minute to go, so this is it now. Final chance in the final session for people to put in times. Let's see what they can do. So as the evening's retired, he doesn't think he can improve that. And yeah, quite a few drivers have retired actually, so it's going to be a little bit quieter out on the track for the final few minutes.
Yeah, Infamous is on a lap for VSR as we see, I think others like Joe and Limitless as well are just gearing up for a lap. Smithson is, I think this could be his final run here. This is crucial. Ollie Smithson then round the final corner for the TSRL guys. Can they find themselves in Tier 1? He may have to go again. He's on the straight.
He's pulling out. Right, he's giving KJ Gamer a bit of a toe there. So even though Smithson didn't improve, KJ Gamer might be able to improve. And obviously still has its combined time. He could find some time. It's going to be quite difficult to improve on 16.9 though, because that is a solid time. But he's going to give it a good go to try and help them.
I think he needs like 3/10, 2.5, 3/10.
Yeah.
I really do. And if he pulls that off, it's something stellar. It really is, but he's going to be pulling out all the stops with not that long to go in this session. Can KJ Gamer find himself and TSRL a spot in Tier 1? This is going to be crucial. Final few corners then for KJ Gamer. Maybe one of the biggest laps he's ever pulled off, and it's in a pre-season test. Round of the long right of turn 13, gets a bit out of shape through there. Not really helping his cause. It's dancing towards turn 13, throwing the car in 14 and 15 follow, really running the car of the Cubs. So aggressive is that Red Bull through turn 16. Needs a good lap here, KJ Gamer. Can he improve any more in the Red Bull? He can, but not by, I don't think, enough. I don't think he's quite done it, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
It'll be very close.
The long wait. Yeah, that's going to be so tight, isn't it? I think there's a lot, just from thinking about it, I think there's a lot of teams that are around an average time of a 1:17. I think there's a lot of teams that are around that. It's just too close to call. So there's going to be a hell of a long wait now for those guys. Not going to know until tomorrow exactly who has made it into the tiers, but crikey, it's going to be tight. We know that for certain. And what a great effort from everyone. I'd just like to say there's been loads of competitive times throughout all of the sessions. No driver has disgraced themselves. They've all put in a really solid effort. And it's a shame, really, that out of the 26 teams that competed today, only 20 of them will be able to get in. But I'm afraid that's how it works sometimes. And yeah, we will see. We will have to wait now. As we said, we kind of said a few teams that we know are going to be through. But yeah, those last few spots. Ooh, too hard to call.
It will be
run through these times.
Yeah. I may as well take them through it then. Let's see who we've got on top then. So Snazzy Evening is fastest of all in that session. Very good lap from Snazzy Evening. Fastest of the day with a 16.5. Head of MGS Joe in the Force India for ILR. Then Terry Luminous, the other ILR boy. Driver in P3. VSR Sarah in P4. Head of KJ Gamer in 5th. Maybe on the cusp of TSRL. VSR may have solidified it with Infamous in 6th. Miro is 7th and keeping it's a solid lap from Miro, and with thanks to his teammate of Snazzy Evening. Then it's Baztec, Eastley, Smithson, Chris Macker-Jones, Fro Boogie, Clone Troop Ian Boy, Imp, Baratek Frass, Boris Letterbox, and Goblin, rounding out the 18 or 19 that took part in that session.
Right, so there we go then. That is pre-season testing done on the Xbox side. Unfortunately, we have had to postpone the PS4 pre-season, so if you're waiting for the PS4 pre-season, unfortunately that is going to be postponed until next week. But that is it for Xbox. Season starts in 2 weeks' time in Australia. And thank you very much for watching the testing. If you've watched all 3 sessions, I salute you. A fantastic effort. If you've just tuned in for the last one, I hope you enjoyed that as well. And yeah, hopefully we will see you in a couple of weeks' time. And as we said, if you're not sure whether your league has got into Tier 1, then check out our podcast tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter at URC_F1. And hopefully tomorrow night we'll be posting a podcast where we will announce who is in Tier 1 and what the Tier 2 lineup is. And of course the order for car selection is going to be important as well. So obviously if you finish first, you're going to get first car pick, which could be all important for morale and stuff. So yeah, make sure to check out the podcast. And as I said, at URC_F1 for details on that. But anyway, that is it. Thank you very much for joining me today, James. And you'll be back in a couple of weeks' time to commentate on that first race, and really looking forward to the season.
Yep.
Anyway, we will hopefully see you then. Thank you very much for watching once again, and good night.